So what I'm going to be doing is sort of just giving my thoughts on how SMSCon, aka Beach episode went, at least my run of it. TLDR, I went 2-2, played against two. Again, all the players were very, very good. Probably the most stacked bracket this game has ever had. In terms of, stacked to non-stacked. There is, it's not just, the usual people who already have some type of net play experience are going to wash, everyone else who decides to join that type of bracket. I mean, this was legitimately people who actually play the game, playing the game with other people who actually play the game. And, you didn't know who was going to win is the big part, right? You didn't know who was going to win, and it was really fun, a lot of fun. And I figure I'd just talk about my experience, what I learned, things I'm going to improve on in the future, just give thoughts. So I'm just going to hit training mode for a bit. One of the things that I will note, or rather the first thing I'm going to note about my personal run is that, okay, you know how there are 9 characters in the game, and you know how this character isn't played, right? Like, nobody plays Brad because nobody likes playing against Brad, right? Brad being Uranus. So you have 8 characters, right? So I'll note, there is a local Pluto that I found out and labbed against within a week or two before, SMSCon happening. I have many local people who play Jupiter. I have a bunch of local people who play Mars. I have one pretty solid chibi at our local. I know of a few moons other than myself that play this game. There are a good amount of Mercuries, and I have had past experience with a Venus who moved away, but in exchange got sort of replaced with a slightly more experienced Venus player, so that's all fun and dandy. Neptune, let's talk Neptune, because yeesh, definitely a matchup that exists. Let me pull it up quickly. How do I do this? Just trying to find the right colors because again, I'm using Ultra Clay Fire controls. Okay, I got it right. Cool. It was only after SMSCon that I realized that our good friend Usagi Tsukino had a Perona-looking skin, like the ghost chick from One Piece. And I'm a big One Piece fan. I'm a One Pieceer. So I'm like, oh man, that's kind of cool. And then I just picked Ken / Mommy Tomoe Neptune. Neptune is definitely a character that exists. Neptune is a character that I should have known existed. Neptune is the character that sent me into losers and out of the bracket because Volcanic Akuma decided to come out of retirement after 4-ish years of absence, and I got knocked completely out of bracket by O-Range. Both are Neptune mains, both are really good at playing Neptune. I never played against a Neptune at all before that. And pretty much one of the big takeaways is that this game is just really knowledge checky, or rather, you might be able to say this about a lot of fighting games, in that, if you just don't know the game, a lot of things are just knowledge checks against one another, right? Like, oh, hey, if you don't know this character, then sucks to suck, you're gonna keep losing against these kind of characters. Okay, I'm just practicing double backdashes while trying to articulate my next thought. So, because I didn't know Neptune, I got thoroughly washed. Ironically, my round 1 was against SNES JW. I was about to say SNES JWX or SNES 9X JW because this is SNES 9X. But yeah, so first round was against her, and she played Mars. So it was her Mars, my Moon. My Moon completely demolished 3-0, and we discussed it a bit later, and she said that she had no matchup experience against Moon. She had played other Mars players, other Jupiter players, not Jupiter players, Venus players. I think there were a few other characters, but no Moon experience. And so that's sort of, you know, a turnaround. Like, I got to see both parts of, you know, knowledge being power. Because knowledge really is power in these kinds of games. Because if you don't know, then you don't know. Okay, just making sure I know what I'm doing. Yep, okay. I'm just taking a few breaks to just do hand warmers. I'm not playing any matches tonight. Maybe. I'm too busy writing stuff for the Idle Showdown Wiki if possible because I, at least after EVO, anticipate that there'll be another uptick, maybe another balance patch with Pecora coming out. I mean, it's basically confirmed at this point. Not only did they confirm it in the you know, oh hey, we've got 3 more characters lined up. Here's the timeline for that, sort of. I don't think it was a timeline. But Pecora is also in the game files, so yeah, she's got like a little TNT move, you know, like the 3-character teaser trailer was. So looking forward to that. I wonder if there's a Pecora looking skin for Saudi. That would be awesome, actually. I don't know. I wonder if you can add, you know, at least 4 more colors, you know, if you press, you know, L and R at the same time. Either way, I'm just sort of musing here. I might look it up. But that's not here nor there. My point being, you know, I want to try and actually conclude this thought so I don't keep meandering. I'm looking at you, Kevin BKC, notorious Pokemon YouTube rambler. You know, at first you're trying to talk about Magnezone and its effect on Gen 4 OU, yet all of a sudden you're in the middle of a conversation with yourself regarding Reservoir Dogs. I don't know. I don't know what kind of Kino the dude watches, but yeah, hold on. I'm pulling up the color guide on my other screen. But anyways, knowing the matchup, knowledge is key, right? If you know the matchup, you know the enemy and know thyself. Obviously, a lot of players, you know themselves. They tend to focus, you know, first thing they do when they pick up the game is they learn about their own character. They're like, okay, I'm going to main this character. If I'm going to main them, then, you know, what's the impetus behind that? You know, what are my tools? What's my counterplay? And, you know, what do each of these tools do? Like, oh, this is a really good Okizeme option because you are practically invincible. You know, you knock them down. Hold on a second, I'm just gonna get that over the corner. You knock them down, and then you're already on top of them. And there's not really much they can do other than attempt to gain backdash and vulnerability, although for most characters other than Moon and Chibi, that's definitely just more delaying the inevitable, right? So okay, that's how you use your tools. The big problem is that, there's no Pecora skin. That would be awesome. You know, Jungi, Big Zam, any of the other SMS ROM hackers, you know what to do. And while you're at it, I don't know, put in like a... I don't know what I'm thinking right now. I don't know. It'd just be a funny little reference. I'm a big fan of references, is what I'm getting at. I mean, obviously, based on what you can see on the screen. But that is neither here nor there. 1 second. I just want to see. Yep, this is recording at 60 FPS. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like, you know, tiny screen 60 FPS. They're gonna be like, no, you can't upload like that. But I don't think it matters, since this is more talking rather than, you know, you watching the screen as I totally not throw a loop Neptune. There we go. See, if you double backdash, you double your invulnerability. So instead of 17 frames, you now have 34 frames of full invulnerability, which is really nice. You can only do it once feasibly though, which is kind of unfortunate. Something like that. I don't know. I imagine it's more applicable in an actual match, but either way, knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Back to the knowledge. More specifically, you have to know your opponent, right? You know, what does Neptune do, right? I'm just gonna pop in the keyboard for this real quick. One of her biggest tools is that she has a far heavy kick. You know, oh, that was close. So far, you know, you can sort of do a combo into her deep submerge special. Okay, so she has that. Close. You note that it hits twice. I'm just gonna hold down back to block. The second hit is a standing overhead. So down backing, as Moon in this situation, you know, holding down back, is not the right option. I mean, obviously you're gonna get grabbed anyways. But yeah, no. So that's a big tool. DP is also really good. You know, big one's 2 hits, right? You know, so that knocks down. But the smaller one seems pretty good. You know, it's just 1 hit and it knocks down. You know, get that Okizeme going on. Something, I don't know, I'm just messing around. But because I didn't know the Neptune matchup, I got totally washed in a very unlucky fashion. Mind you, I think I got more from this than I would have, say, you know, day 1 seeding, I would be going up against Big Zam. I just get Pluto'd out or Chibi'd out or, you know, Moon'd out. You know, characters that I already have a semi-knowledge of, instead of, holy moly, this is a character that I knew absolutely nothing about. I think I'm just going to switch over for the time being. Hold on a second. Boom. Boom. Okay. Switch spots, and that should be it. Yep. Okay. super consistently. You love to see it. Anyways, apologies if I'm just messing around for a lack of forethought into doing this, because I was just minding my own business, and I was thinking like, hey, you know what? Might as well do this, because you know there are definitely other people who are a lot newer to this game than I am. That, you know, a couple of my good buddies went out to an SMSCon. One, I was like, yeah, no, I'm kind of annoyed with how I did. But then I'm explaining to the two of them, listen, both of you joined the most stacked bracket for this game of all time. Do not blame yourself if you go 0-2 against these veritable legends regarding this game. Like, this is a tiny game. This game has a very tiny community that gets very minimal growth, and the fact that there are a good amount of new players coming into this is really interesting. You know, it's an old game. It's a Super Nintendo game. I might make a video on Gundam Wing or something. I don't know. I gotta find out about Gundam. But either way, don't get too hard on yourself. And I think that's one of the other big lessons from SMSCon, is because going in, I knew I wasn't gonna win. And I mean, it was a mathematical improbability. Like, I knew there was a chance I would make it into, say, like, top 8, barely missed that cut, but at the same time, you know, it's like, oh, whatever, I get into, you know, Legs' top 8 graphic, but then, you know, what else, right? I mean, I was there. I, you know, enjoyed crab dinner afterwards. That was also very nice. I learned how to shuck calamari. But at the same time, you know, it was a good experience, and I think that's sort of the big takeaway, at least from this experience, is that you shouldn't be playing to win, you should be playing to play. You should be enjoying yourself regardless of whether you're winning or losing. Minor tangent, SMS sort of does this well, because there are so many opportunities for the player, you know, on the losing side to gain back. I think, you know, the desperation mechanics, even though the quality of those moves vary from character to character, it means that regardless of, you know, timer or health, the person who is losing will eventually get access to desperation anytime, be it because of low health or low time, which I think is really, really interesting. I think it definitely warrants a lot more investigation into, you know, in terms of mechanics like these. But, you know, just because you don't know, that's just an opportunity for you to learn. And that's why I'm thinking, you know what? I would like to play more matches with Neptune. Not because, you know, I want a main Neptune, or maybe I will secondary Neptune or something like that. I just want to learn more about the game. Because realistically, you're just learning about a very stupidly obscure game. If you're playing this game with the intent on winning money, unless your tag starts with V and ends in Icky Viper, you are not making money off of this game. Slight tangent about that. I was in the SMS Discord and someone mentioned, oh, look at how much money Vicky Viper made off of Sailor Moon S alone. And my first thought is, oh, well, if every local bans Uranus, you know, and Vicky Viper is a notorious tier scummer, she mains Zombie, Zabel, Lord Raptor in Vampire Savior, you know, very notorious #1 hard execution top tier. Very much, I want to say she plays Osagat. That might just be, you know, the brain rot talking, like, oh, you know, she plays top 1 characters, therefore she has to play Osagat in Super Turbo. But I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if it turns out that is actually true. That she is an Osagat scummer. But either way, you are probably not going to find anything so dominating again. Just because people have been like, you know what, we don't want to play with these dominating options anymore. Okay, that's just another matchup you don't have to figure out. You know, the roster still has 8 really decent, if not solid, characters. Again, I apologize for sleeping on Neptune, but at the same time, I might also make another small tangent here. Pluto. People are like, oh no, Pluto's actually kind of good. Pluto. And you all know who says that? Pluto mains. Every single time. And you all know the only people who play Pluto? They're the people who are already extremely experienced in this game and can absolutely wallop people based on game mechanic knowledge alone. See Neo Russell, Big Zan for examples of that. Yeah, no, but I'm enjoying the game. You know, I'm not labbing this out like a demon, but the beauty of this game is that you don't have to be a lab monster for such a game. And I think that is a big pull for some kinds of games. Is that some of them you just don't have to be a lab monster in. You know, you don't have to memorize all these confirms. You know, maybe you have to memorize a move list, but that's the extent of the knowledge that you are required. You're required to bring to the table. Otherwise, you really don't have to bring anything else. You know, you just want to play. You want to play these characters. Okay, just learn. You know, learn how to play one character and learn how to play a game, and learn the general game plans of the entire cast. And all of a sudden, you have working knowledge. Obviously, system mechanics come first and foremost. You know about your backdashes, know about your guard cancels, stuff like that. But even then, those are system mechanics. Those are things you should know. You know, as you know, a prerequisite before you get to any specific character shenanigans. But otherwise, I personally think that, you know, this is a really good game to try out. I definitely strongly recommend just, you know, even if you don't want to go online and find games. I mean, it is easy to just go online and find games depending on, you know, when people play. There's usually a Thursday night net play night, so if you really want games, then that is most definitely an option for you. But, you know, just go find somebody, find someone else, you know, find some other gamer, and be like, hey, I'd like to try this out. And they'd be like, okay. And they're like, oh no, it's a fighting game, it's gonna be tough, it's gonna be stupid, it's gonna be like, what's a notoriously tough, stupid fighting game? It's gonna be like Guilty Gear, like old Guilty Gear. It's like, oh no, I have to know things like Testament moves. I have to know things like, you know, I have to manage like stances with Johnny and Elfelt. But this game's got none of that. It's just, you know, it's a Street Fighter 2 like, but at the same time, that's not a bad thing. And then some people might say, oh, well, the game's so janky. Yeah, well, look at Street Fighter 2 and tell me that it is, you know, a game without jank. Ironically, I've met plenty of seasoned fighting game dudes and dudettes and NB chiefs that will say, oh my goodness, today I learned about the slowdown differences in Super Turbo. And what that is that every stage runs at a different speed. There's a reason why everybody plays on Canny/England stage. It's because it's the one that runs the fastest and the most consistent. Not to say you can't play on the stages, just that there are noticeable differences in how the game speed works because of all the little effects in the background and how this game wasn't made for, you know, balancing speed out in mind. I mean, there are hacks that fix it. I know New Legacy is a Super Turbo hack that does this. Again, that's neither here nor there. And overall, I'm just going to try and wrap this up because realistically, I don't want to waste anyone else's time. I don't want to waste my own time, is the big thing. You know, I have dinner to make, but the TLDR here is I learned of the existence of Neptune. I got absolutely washed because of it later on in the bracket. I, instead of sulking over the fact that, oh, well, I just didn't play against this character, therefore this, none of this is my fault, or, oh, this is all my fault because I forgot to lab against this character, woe is me. I'm thinking, this is a new character that I never knew about before. I'm going to learn a bit more and prepare myself for next time. And, it's just a good thing, knowledge is power. The real thing is that it's not just, oh, maybe I have skill, maybe, maybe there's like a 14-year-old at your local who's just really good bodying everybody, because like, oh my goodness, this kid's got talent, he's trying to finish this bracket because he has an assignment due at 11:59. But the real thing is that they just sped run experience. You need experience in order to play these games at a higher level, because realistically, fighting games are a battle of the brain, brain against brain, not, fighting game character against fighting game character. And the better brain, I'm not going to say bigger brain, the better brain comes out on top, a majority of the time. And therefore, the real thing you have to train these kind of games is your brain. It's not about, your reactions exactly. It's not about, getting long combos. It's when to utilize these things. And just flat out knowledge of your opponent, knowledge of yourself. You need not fear the result of 100 battles. That's my SMSCon rant. For lack of better terms, I'll probably upload this. If I do decide to take a look at Gundam Wing, I'll do something on that. If, Idol Showdown gets a big update, Evo weekend and whatnot. Cross your fingers, everybody. Cross your fingers that Street Fighter 6 doesn't go literally into the next day, and hopefully, it'll probably go into the next day, I'm sure. Absolutely, that Street Fighter 6 will take a metric eternity to finish. We will see the Heat Death of the Universe before this SF6 bracket finishes at Evo. But hopefully, you're not going to be spending 24 hours playing Street Fighter 6, or worse, having to extend into Monday in order to play these things. Although I imagine at that point, if you got that far, you're like, oh, sunk cost fallacy. I made it out of, 7,000 goons at this point. Then surely I'm going to be able to, eke my way out of top 6. Not top 8, top 6. That's also very, very fun. I look forward to seeing the salt that arrives from that. But either way, yeah, no, I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. Those are my closing thoughts. Play Sailor Moon S is what I'm going to leave with. And if I make another vid or something, which I probably will, I'll see y'all next time. Thank you.